नमस्कार, जय हिंद। भारत तक देख रहे हैं आप और मैं हूं ऋषिराज और आज हम एक वर्ल्ड एक्सक्लूसिव इंटरव्यू दिखाने जा रहे हैं। भारत तक पहला ऐसा मीडिया संस्थान है जो सूडान कॉन्फ्लिक्ट को लेकर वहां आरएसएफ के प्रवक्ता से बात करने जा रहा है, यानी कि रैपिड सपोर्ट फोर्स जो वहां की सेना से लड़ रही है और जो इस वक्त के भीषण हालात है सूडान के बारे में, उसको लेकर हम बात करेंगे। हमें ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं आरएसएफ की तरफ से ऑथराइज्ड प्रवक्ता डॉक्टर इब्राहिम मुख्तियार। मिस्टर मुख्तियार, वेलकम टू भारत तक।
Well, thank you for having me.
Sir, my very first question to you, sir, tell me honestly, what is the ground situation in Sudan now?
Well, the rabid forces, Sudanese forces, controlling more than 95% of Khartoum. And it's the rabid support forces is a part of the Sudanese army. It's now controlling the international airport and many other airports around the country, the defense ministry, the Central Reserve Forces headquarters, the military industrial complex, Riyadh, which is the largest and the biggest in Africa. It also controls all the main access roads to the capital. And there's another many whole cities in Sudan is under its control.
Okay, okay. So, how much you find, sir, RSF is getting stronger than its opponents?
Well, day by day, we are achieving new successes. We are widening our territory and capturing new places. For example, we have a very big towns like Niala, Zanjir, and Ubaid, which is the main oil refinery in Sudan, is under our control. The vast majority of the capital, as I told you, and the country are under RSF control.
Okay.
The south, which is the Sudan Army armed forces, has a few operational jet fighters, which they lost a great numbers of them. And they have many casualties and through defection to the RSF itself, and also through desertion. The RSF personnel know that they are fighting for a legitimate and honorable purpose, which brings back Sudan to its democratic pathway. So they have high morale and they are willing to sacrifice to get the country back to its pathway.
Okay, sir, tell me honestly, is RSF is looking to win the hearts of people of Sudan, or it is just a fight going on between RSF and army just for the power and the control of the gold mines and every other assets of the country?
Well, if you take a little bit of background of what's happening there, in 2019, a dictatorship was toppled by the people in Sudan. Omar al-Bashir governed the country with an iron fist for 30 years, and people didn't want to continue in such a regime. And so the RSF supported the revolution at the time. And since that time, RSF was trying to peacefully, as much as possible, to get the change through. The RSF played a very big role in peacemaking because there's many conflicts erupted around the country at the time, and end up General Doglo by sponsoring historical agreement in Cuba, where they sponsored the many armed factions together and joined the political process. It also helps to resolve many tribal conflicts around the country. So the RSF is, yes, willing very much to gain the support of the people, but through his deeds, through supporting them and trying to find solution to the ongoing conflict.
So, Dr. Mukhtar, I'll tell you honestly how the worlds look at you now. So, there is so much talk going on between the world media, the West, that you people are going to hold the controls of gold mines in the west of your country, and your people wants to take control of the every other powerful places in the country just for the money. This is the speculation going on West media. What you will comment over that?
Well, thank you for telling me. I must be very clear about that. Rapid Support Forces is a legitimate official national military institution approved by the Sudanese parliament in 2017. The budget of these forces comes from the Minister of Finance. It does not own, these forces does not own any or operate any investments or private corporation, including the alleged gold mines. RSF strictly operate under the law. It's a national, as I said, forces, and is keen to get the country back on its feet.
Okay, okay. So recently, airstrike happened in Sudan. We heard that reportedly 22 people lost their lives. RSF is blaming army for that. Uh, is that the real situation over there? That army is trying to kill people to make them aggressive against RSF, or is there something else?
Well, the as the army trying as much as possible, the South trying as much as possible to regain back territory it lost, it went on a fierce random airstrikes, lost all his ground forces. So the airstrikes was the only mean for them to inflict you know, inflict injuries, if you can say, casualties to our forces. This random airstrike, uh, uh, happened in very crowded areas with
Yes.
people. And as I said to you, the this military does not recognize the right of people to exist as in peace. Shortly after they started this attack against the RSF, RSF tried to secure pathways to diplomats and foreign dignitaries and citizens to leave the war zone. Our intentions were and still are try as much as possible to decrease casualties among citizens.
Okay.
Uh, this is in contrary to SAF. I must mention here that the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres,
Yes.
condemned the killing of those 22 people who are being a victim of the airstrike by the SAF.
Okay. So we have seen visuals of Sudan. A lot of people is migrating from the country to just to save their lives. What RSF is doing in the grounds to control this migration, to convince their people that RSF is working for them. RSF is fighting for the people of Sudan.
That's true. The RSF is, as I told you before, since the beginning of the war, we started to secure safe passages for all people from war zone, and this is documented, and also we are keen to concentrate and focus on people who are uh, cannot move out of this area because of anything, disabilities, for example. An
Okay.
example, we helped 300 uh, and children to evacuate from Maigoma or orphan to
Okay.
safe places. And we think that by trying to find a solution to this problem, displaced people, will come back to the safe country. Areas where it's controlled by the rapid support forces are safe, and we are trying as much as possible to give a hand, humanitarian food and others, to people who are on those areas. But of course, the end of the war is going to end of all this crisis.
So, do you look for any peace formula? Do you look for any resolution between the RSF and the army for the peace of Sudan, for the peace of this war that lots of bloodshed is already happened there? So, how it's going to be end?
Well, the RSF is very keen to end this war, given the current tragic situation in Sudan. We are keen to bring the country back to the path of democratic transformation and recognition of national crises inherited since independence, which led to many conflicts in Sudan and civil wars, even to creation of South Sudan. We believe that by exerting military pressure on Sudanese armed forces, we hope that Al Burhan, their leader, and the other Islamic extremist elements surrender and so face justice for the crimes that they have committed against the Sudanese people. This will open the door for a achieve long-lasting peace and stability. On the other hand, it is imperative to continue the pressure by engaging representatives from all segments of the Sudanese society in comprehensive restructuring process that embraces the country's rich diversity, which with the help of the international community. Uh, this is why RSF are welcoming international initiatives from United Nations, IGAD, and other countries and organizations. Today, for example, Mr. Yusuf Izzat is leading an RSF delegation to the IGAD summit in Addis Ababa with
Yes.
open heart and mind. The bad news is that SAF, the other party delegation, boycotted the summit, accusing international well-trusted regional organization, IGAD, of being impartial. This came to us of no surprise, as the delegation was the main reason of the failing Jeddah talks,
Okay.
sponsored by the
Okay.
US and Saudi Arabia. This is very serious, and it will impact the military and humanitarian situation on the ground.
Yeah, okay. So you are saying that the RSF is willing for peace, but the military, on the other hand, is not willing to have peace with you. They want to fight. They want to escalate this war so that they win the grounds.
Yes, that's true. The Sudanese armed forces have operate as a partisan and ideological faction, serving its own objectives rather than the interest of the Sudanese people. The
Okay.
decision making of in SAF was hijacked by backers of the former regime and Islamic extremists. People denounced the former regime in 2019, and we are being winning and expand territory, as I told you, with the support of people, unlike South.
Okay.
But I think they are not totally serious. They're not totally ready to accept the defeat, and we hope uh, as much as possible, as soon as they reach such a conclusion, Sudan will tragedy will cease.
Okay. So, if you want to tell me honestly, I'll want to ask that how much RSF has the storage of ammunition, weapons to fight against the military infrastructure in Sudan? Is you people are getting supply from somewhere, or some countries, neighbor countries, is willing to help you for the weapons and ammunitions?
Well, Sudanese army, I think, was the seventh army in Africa. It's a
Yes.
very strong army, and as I told you, there's
Yes.
also Riyadh complex This is the biggest complex industrial for weaponry in Africa. So all the weapons, all the ammunition we have is from the army itself. They restore it. Is
Okay.
huge, and so we don't we lean on any country to support us
Okay.
in this war. Actually, we are against the intervention of such a type of intervention to support any of the.
Okay. Okay. So, is RSF is involved in manufacturing the weapons ammunition in Sudan also, so that they keep refilling the storage of weapons and ammunitions?
We there is already a storage of a huge storage of weapon in the capital.
Okay.
And other part of
Okay,
if you
sir.
if you look at the videos
So I'll
behind the
ask
scenes,
one to two more questions, sir. Tell me, sir, Sudanese army is also trying to take the control over the country. How much you people are convinced that you gonna win this war?
uh, well uh, we are already winning this war.
Okay.
The attack was all of a sudden. The SAF believe that it's going to be for 4 hours and they can control our forces, but that continued now for 3 months. Now we have the most strategic areas in Sudan. We have all their military bases at most of them, and 80% of where is Al Burhan is staying now is under siege. Is in the general headquarters, and soon we think this pressure will result in them surrender. So we are winning this war, and with the support also of people. Many tribes are
Okay.
now announcing their support to the RSF. That means people now more aware of what's going. They now understand that Sudan cannot go back to where it was. Sudan
Okay.
would like to share and be part of the international community, not an isolated entity
Okay.
in Africa.
Okay. So, what I know the best from you that you are saying that Sudanese RSF is basically a pro-democratic uh, 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 pro-democratic supporters, and the Sudanese military is against this democracy. They want to keep this dictatorship going on. Am I right or wrong?
You're so right. As I told you, the Islamic regime continued for 30 years, and
Okay.
it did not allow any democratic process. People
Okay.
gained a chance to topple this regime in 2019. Rapid support forces uh, supported this change and continued doing that in the last 4 years. Actually, the main cause of the war is that the former regime elements and Islamic extremists wanting to continue in control. And that's why the RSF was against. That's why the war started.
Okay, so my very last question to you, sir, as I'm speaking from India to you, so is there any message for PM Modi, or is there any help you look for from India's side, or you want that India should come forward and make a delegation and should have a peace talk between RSF and the Sudanese army, sir?
We always look at India as the largest democracy of the world. It is, and we always look up to it to support Sudan. And we are very confident that the Indian government will understand the Sudanese cause and step forward to help us. India is one of the greatest powers in the world and can play an important role in bringing back peace in our to our nation. And we are very keen to the Indian to participate in such noble.
Okay. Okay. So, Sab, very thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for giving me such a chance.